And it shows too, because like right when I got to open up the file and check it out, and it was just
Mhm.
like, all right, I'm always interested in seeing what people are dishing out and what they can offer and whatnot. And it's like, man, these books don't feel like an indie, like right out of the gate person starting
Mhm.
them, because like the world building you constructed and what do we call it, sidekick for hire, and then what you're
Yeah.
doing with like we call them myths, like those seem like very like already published, like with Boom or like IDW type of formatted and craftsmanship behind it, from the art to the storytelling, like, and like
Thank
so
you.
Neil Gaiman of you to go like in that myth direction but take your own
Mhm.
twist behind it. Were any of those
Yeah.
monsters like real creatures that you've actually inputted, or were they your creations that you're making?
So in the comic, there's little files
Hmm.
of like each major character and each creature. I did a
Hmm.
lot of research. So every monster or cryptid that you see, the first location of its sighting and the year that it was first sighted are all true for the most part. Like this is just based off research and everything. I say true because
Yeah.
there's no like actual proof behind it, which is something that I love. But yeah, I did so much research in it. Like there's more that's going to be showing up later, but that was really important where I was like, I want to have some semblance of facts in there, but I didn't want to be like hampered on those where like, oh, it's got to keep true to like these creatures. And the cool part about cryptids is there's so little information about them, so I could just pretty much do what I want for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah, it's a fun little twist. I mean, there's a publishing company called Paranoid American. We got to interview him here on the show too.
Oh, cool.
And they dive into a lot of those like, cryptids and stuff like that, and a lot of conspiracy theory stuff too.
Yeah.
And they do their own twist, and it's a lot of fun, and it really drew me back to those, previews that I was seeing from that publisher.
Hmm.
And that's the cool part, is that you can take this wild thing, which true or not, yet to be
Yeah.
told. I wouldn't be surprised at a certain extent if a lot of them were
Yeah.
real, but like it's so much fun just to get more creative with them. You're just like feeling your creativity and being able to do a
Hmm.
twist, and like, it feels very Hellboyish. And
Yeah.
it's not even like you're copying Hellboy or this is a Hellboy mimic. It's, taking monsters and doing a spin on them. And it's so hard to pull that type of stuff off, I feel.
Yeah. I don't mind the comparison at all. Like if people are like, "Oh, it's very Hellboy," like I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely."
great.
Like Hellboy was sick. I loved reading it, and so I read a little bit of Hellboy when I was younger, but I never fully finished it, and I didn't finish it until like last year.
Oh, cool. I haven't finished Hellboy
And
before. I've only read the first volume or two. I think I have that
yeah,
omnibus, that first like
yeah.
big book. Yeah.
So it's a great run,
Hmm.
but it was after I finished it, didn't love the ending of it. I didn't hate it.
Hmm.
But the reason why I say that is because looking back on it, I enjoyed the journey more than I enjoyed the destination.
There you go.
And that was like for something that's been going for so long, for so many issues, the fact that I like, oh, I'm really interested. I want to, oh, like I look back on it so fondly. And that was like, that's what I kind of want to do. Like, first issue, get people hooked is great. You want a strong ending as well, but I want to make sure there isn't a boring part in the middle. I want people to look
Hmm.
back as like, I really enjoyed the issues in between for that.
Oh yeah, and I think I could see how you formulate that too in your stories, because
Hmm.
you always come out with a bang, and then you have some exposition world building in the middle, and then you're
Hmm.
really good at circling it back. And that's what like we call them myths does. Like, we start off
Hmm.
following the alligator creature. We kind of get
Yep.
this really fun, like we're in for it. You're selling us on the book and what we're getting a taste for, and
Yeah.
then you start introducing the world and what they're a part of and like who they're associated with, and that Men in Black and that Amanda Waller
Yeah.
character and everything. And then you're just like, oh, okay, so it's the first issue, and we're going on our second adventure, and we're
Yeah.
getting details, and we're seeing how this is connecting to the first monster in a sense. And then you leave us with a great, once again, uh, just like a great. Why am I spacing out the coolest thing that
Cliffhanger.
comics cliffhanger? Yeah, there you go. Think
Yeah.
it's a
No,
morning, I guess. I need
I
more
was,
coffee. But that cliffhanger is just. I mean, that's what's cool, is that you leave us dropped, and then you're like, where are we going from this? How can I just stop here? And that's what
yeah.
you want to do with comics, no matter where it builds up to. How can I just stop reading at this point? And that's the
Mhm.
best way to chop someone's head off and get them to come back for the second issue.
Yeah. There's, this one's after like a few years of writing other stories and doing other short comics and things like that, this series, what I wanted to do, and I was talking with Colton about it, it was just I want to split it up into different acts where like you feel people feel like they get their money's worth, but it doesn't feel like overcrowded too
Hmm.
much. But also like, hey, this is a chunk of the first part of the story, and this is the second chunk, and then it leads off to the third chunk. And like I just want to do different acts in each issue that
The
just
best
flow
way.
really well. Yeah.
It's
Instead of
it
it being
shows.
like, yeah. And I didn't want to do like each issue being an act. I want different acts for throughout the issues that just kind of flow through it. So, but
Man,
yeah, that
and
was
that's pure craft, dude. Like, and that's really
yeah,
cool that you're analyzing stuff and you're able to write in that way and to really like pull it off because it's really easy to get bogged down in the middle or at the end of a story and
yeah.
just not land it.
It's it's a learning process. I had a breakfast with somebody while I was in Chicago, and we were kind of talking about story structure and different things like that. And they said, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that? I'm like, it's because of stuff that I didn't really know. A lot of things that I'm doing in this comic, I'm learning as I go. Like I
Mm.
know I'm not at the level I can be, and I want to be even better. I want to just keep getting better and better with that while also having fun. Like that's the two important things that I always improve, and then that me and the people I work with are having fun. Those are the two most important things whenever I make comics. Because if I'm having fun, I feel like other people are going to enjoy it and have fun as well.
Yep. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. If you feel like there's a dull part in your script, that probably means that there's a dull part in your script,
Yes,
you know, like,
exactly.
and it's always good to like cut something out and reveal it
Mhm.
later, or just finding a better way to present or play something. Like, if you don't feel like it fits and you feel like you're really just forcing that peg into that square,
Yeah.
I really recommend just taking that peg out of that square and figuring it out.
I,
It's a puzzle. Comics are giant puzzle
yeah.
pieces you got to figure out and mess with and mold with. Like, it's not so much.
That's 100%.
Yeah, like writing isn't so much a physical thing where you're messing with like clay and like how an artist is with their pen and pencil and like erasing and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But it is very much like, okay, I have these pieces. How am I going to manipulate them? And how am I going to be very clear and concise at the same time? Because that's another thing you're really good at doing. And I think that's what some people forget when they're making comics is that everything's up here in your head and you
Yeah.
have to not only convey this clear message and story to your artist, but know that that's also being conveyed to your audience because you have probably much more personal conversations with your artists about pages, about scenes,
Yeah.
where stuff is going, what you're predicting and thinking and feeling, but making sure the audience gets that too, so vital.
Yeah.
Comic books to life and print your comics with